Hi everyone, it's Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts. How is everyone doing today? I hope great because we have an awesome guest and my SSP sister. And her name is Stone Hobbit. And we're going to be talking right now. Welcome to today's adventure. Thank you, Stone Hobbit, for being here.
Thank you.
So, how was your day today?
Adventurous.
Yeah.
There's always something new going on around here. So, yeah.
Did you want to tell anybody where you're from or where were you born?
Okay. All right. All right. Let's start again. I'm Stone Hobbit. I'm from New Zealand, at the bottom of the world, in the cold. Right now, look out the window. It's a total whiteout. What you guys would call a whiteout would be snow and stuff. I call it a heavy, dense fog. I can't see my gate. It's very nice and quiet. It's one of the best days we've had this week. Lots of messages always coming in. I come from a mixed background of hybrid program, MK Ultra, SSP, a sexual ritual abuse, family have connections to Masonic orders, politics, different, cults that were running both here in New Zealand, with connections to the UK as well as Zimbabwe. Lots of different areas of connection. So as well as that, I also have multidimensional beings such as orbs and what I've nicknamed over the years, plasma spheres, which are like orange balls that go and they look like they're on fire moving across the sky. I've seen lots of videos of people out there with them over the years and stuff. They're still coming in. At one stage, I believe that they might have been Wi-Fi military connected. And in the location that I am, there is no Wi-Fi. There is no connections like that possible. And watching them come out of the ship like they did, and we've seen the ship 2 or 3 times. It's like a big cloak. They go up into, you can't see them anymore, but they're still there. And we've chased them. When I say we, I'm talking about not just me, but anybody I can drag along with me that sees them. So multi-dimensional experiences. I have what used to be known as night terrors. I now label them as dimensional accessing, because over a period of time, if you start logging your adventures, your journeys and encounters with different beings and different landmarks with different abilities, you start seeing commonalities within the patterns, and then you start realizing, okay, there's a connection between color, energy, density, dimension, being, ability. There's all these different levels to it. So every day for me is an adventure. I love it. I mean, you can go out there and talk to a tree. It might feel funny at first, but the more you do it, the more you connect. You plant that seed, you watch it grow. You nurse it, you watch it grow. You see what seasons it will survive, and you protect it. You nurture it. It produces fruit. You taste that fruit. You see the seed, and you carry on the process. You learn to communicate because you've taken in that information, that source, that communication. You've taken in that knowledge, those abilities, and you transmute it by continuing those cycles. So everything around us is a form of cycle. You can see the negative in it, or you can work in the positive. Eventually the positive will get so fast that there'll be no negative being able to come in. Okay, you're a magnet. Accept it.
Yeah, like exactly. Like what I say, we are the Merkaba, we are the toroidal field. We, our fingertips, we can transform things, feel people's energies. That's why, you know, with everything that's happening right now, it's they don't want us to be together because we're highly telepathic and we feel our emotions. And, you know, there's communication, creativity, the God genes, the our DNAs that, you know, we come to know each other and find our astral family, I guess we could say, our true family. And I think I met you at Zoom meeting, and instantly we connected, and I know you, and you're also part of the dragons, our dragons, you know. Most actually the super soldiers are dragons. So long ago there was a war here on Earth. I know that I'm, for now that I know of, I'm 79 billion years old. I don't know if I'm a little older, but this here on Earth is my last reincarnation as a human. Um, I'm going home, and there's other, you know, dimensions and other portals, other places, galaxies, other worlds that we're all a part of. And you know, I often say I've been to heaven and I've been to hell. So
Yeah.
there, it's more than that. We are way more than those programs. But real quick, Stone, when did you start seeing these things, or did you have what they call a rebirth, or a, they call it here the awakening or awakening or ascension for you personally? When was that? How was it?
Well, mine came in, well, I can't really say it came in stages, but I've had it at a very early age because of the way I came in. You know, I came in a month premature. My sister died before, you know, before the month was out, the month I was born. I was given away in the same month, and it just escalated from there. There was like bouncing from home care to home care, from abuse to abuse to abuse. Now, in each of these cases, and it's strange how I find I can recall each of these stages with the beings that showed up there as watchers and showed me abilities. I mean, at one stage of my life, everything was about hurt and pain, and what people had done to me was wrong. But and I have to say, you know, you're like, when you grow up in a life where the norm is not actually the norm, you discover that that was the case. Then you get told and programmed that what you went through, there was hurt. So you've got to then analyze that structure. Then you see the programming, and then you see all, you see that start to escalate. So it's gone from one case to anybody who can take advantage of the situation will do and can do, because that's how the government's programmed. And once I had gone through that, so at the same stage as that, I was having encounters with different types of beings, and they were always showing up. They would teach me something different, even though I didn't realize at the time. It was so right through all my relationships, becoming a parent, the loss of my living children dying from cot death, which was, I believe, was a lot more than what was on the surface. There's so many different levels of abuses and abandonment and programming that they've put on there. And the beings have always been there. And through being able to unravel that poop, I got to see the beings also, how they were interacting. There was one major encounter that happened when my son had died. He was pretty much not quite 1 year old, 10 and a half months old. And he died of SIDS, you know, sudden infant death syndrome. There was no reason for it. Absolutely. As a parent, there was no reason for it. He was healthy, never had a cold. There was no sickness. Yep. I'm getting back to your question. Yep.
Oh, no, I know, but the SIDS, I often feel that that is a program that they use through
Oh,
technology to take that soul and use it for something else in a
yeah.
program. They actually use us to birth our children, and then they want to use them. It's like, I give no consent, Go ahead.
Yeah. One, I knew this was his wrong time. I knew that. He was too intelligent for that. He had teeth. He could speak to me. He was too intelligent for that. Oh, I don't know what happened then. And then from no coincidences. And then from there, it was like there was all these other incidences that happened. Like there was ghosts in the car, and there was tappings, and there was the moving of his toys. But yeah.
You're looking, it's going to white, platinum. But I can see your eyes, darling.
Okay, I'll try and close the
Okay. Well, earlier the camera was going in and out, so I think that's
it's
good.
the energy. It's the energy. See, it's the energy around.
It is, I know. And I saw your orb, and it was like teal, yellow, white. It was and beautiful, blue, beautiful.
So there's like a bigger picture there, but I'll cut it down. So basically, these beings have been showing up, and after my son had died, these beings showed up in a massive thing of light, and all logic was going, well, that couldn't be that couldn't be that. I was eliminating why the light was coming into the room, where it was coming from, the surroundings, and eventually I was inside this white room, and there was like this being coming downstairs holding the sun, holding my son's hand. It turned out to be Jesus. But in a split second, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. That wasn't right. It was like they stuffed up in the matrix. And I went, no, I can't accept that. And as fast as it had come on, it went. And it was like I was dropped back into the bed. Now, laying face down in the pillow and begging for it to come back to try again, because I failed, that's the sense I had at the time. It came back. But the second time round, I didn't see what I saw originally. What I saw was a tall grey and a short grey taking on the image, the memory of in that moment. And then after that, I had 3 more encounters with this white light room, being able to condense down, seeing what damage it can do. And then I had all these plasma spheres. I had light beings coming into my room. I had gotten to see how to separate my emotions, my consciousness, my awareness from the physical 3D entity going through the stuff it was going through. I divided and looking through a 2-way mirror, seeing what was happening over there, not being able to do anything to change it. And it was more of a safety, because if I had tried to struggle, I wouldn't be here now. And this is on multiple cases, all right? It is absolutely crazy, the training. I have to put it down. I have to find some logic for it. So and with all the different things, it went from paranormal, like ghosts and boogie monsters and all of this, to paranormal activity, to abilities, to me being a freak, to being able to see and take photos and see ships coming in left, right, and center, to having other 3D people around me witnessing it too. So I'm not crazy. There's a lot going on. And it's like, it is a multi-dimension. When you see the beings that are trying, they come in and they manifest in one form, and your visual has to be trained to get into that form. It's real easy. You just keep looking at orb photos, and before you know it, you'll start seeing the little flashes, which then if you see the flashes, start taking photos, because you're getting the orbs coming in, right? And I've not had any negative, and this is years, 15, nearly 20 years of experience with orbs. I've not had any negative. I've always found some form of information and healing from them. These other entities, it's been lessons, blooming lessons. But yeah, it's, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Miss Jones. My precious.
Sorry, I tend to go on rants.
No, it's okay. I do too. It's
My-
fine. We all have altars.
Yeah, micro, macro.
Micro, macro. You were telling me that you worked in a lab, and we share the same well, all of us in the secret space program, and we share the knowledge of nanotechnology. We have been used in those programs many times. You know, we got the black goo, the red goo, the nanobites, you know, we can communicate with AI, we can communicate with things, our crystals that we have, we can communicate. They talk to us. Right. I love that crystal ball. I would love to get one. But so, you know, some of us are like, for example, I'm like the head of, how do you say, technologies and security, right? We all have our own ships in this program, and you know, we're used in alone or 2, 3 to 33 people, whatever at a time. It just depends on the mission, right? But then the orbs that you describe, I've seen them too when I run. You know, I take pictures. You're right. Once you start seeing them from the sides of your eyes, because remember they did this on purpose to us so that we couldn't see with our 3D eyes. Right. We have to use our peripheral and our abilities. So exactly. When you were saying that it's like foggy or white outside, I felt that it was the snow protecting you, because I use snow to protect myself and other elements. I put, if I need to, I could put layers and layers. You know, I always sense. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you do too. I sense when the negatives try to come during the day, whether I'm working out outside, gym, here, cooking, outside at a grocery store, whatever, or I'm laying in bed like trying to sleep. I know when they are trying to come in.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, let's level it up, you know. And I'll talk to them too. And it's like, you don't need to be here, you know, with other words, with other vocabulary words, you know, return to sender, consciousness attached, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sure you do all that too, right? Protection, and you're a healer too, right? I see that being there that we talked about earlier. You want to talk about that being?
Oh, this is the ancient one. Well, it's not fully finished yet.
Beautiful.
A work in progress, okay. I'm no artist, but I've had help as well. But this is an ancient one. She came to me a few years back, and when she first came to me, because when we get our downloads, when we get information, it's almost like too heavy to carry. We don't understand what's going on. We end up being surrounded by chaos and seeing that there's parasitical entities tempting these other hosts into creating chaos. We get stuck in, you know. I was in one of those states at the time, and I was getting sick of this. I was getting sick of being the one to rescue bloody everybody, and I had my own poop to sort out, right? And then she came to me. I had some other beings come to me just previously, and I felt really bad that I hadn't I had allowed human fear to creep in and ruin a contact, and I was fully awake. I was fully alert. The light was on in the room. I could see the time on the clock. I was awake. And these beings, these beings came into the room. So after that, I've got this thing going on in my head, how I will behave, what mannerisms, what I need to do to present my, my inner self, my honesty to another one of these beings. Yes, I can't trust all of them because they've already proven that they're not trustworthy. And you have to also realize you've got to trust in your frequency because they can tap into frequencies and make you believe stuff. You got to know yourself. You got to know your frequency. That frequency doesn't match out there, you don't go there. It's now, to me now, it's common logic. Whereas I know that I wasn't there not long ago. All right. So we all wake up at different stages. So she came along after that awakening. And it was pretty heavy duty because I was going through a stage where I was going through an agency called ACC here in New Zealand, Accident Compensation Corporation. It's connected to the New Zealand government. It's basically you go through them so you don't have to sue a company. You know how it goes. Yeah. Anyway, so they get all your information, what you're going to do, how are you, what you've got against the government. They're the in-between person. All right. Eventually people will see how the government plays us all. Then they turn around and say, no, you don't fit in. You can't do this. You can't do that. We don't want you. You're in the too hard case. We don't know how to deal with you. We'll give you half a dozen to 20 different case managers so nobody knows what the hell's going on, etc., etc. And I even had case managers ring me once they had resigned from the position after going through my files and seeing what else was happening. So I got other inside information from them because of how they felt. They had a touch of empathy. So moving right along. From there, she came in and it was like, okay, there were 3 of them. To start with, there were 2 of them, different cars. They were like, oh shit. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I live rural.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
When somebody toots out, there's either an animal on the road, they need help to go and clear it. But it was at the postie,
Right.
letting me know I've got mail. Sorry.
Right. She's got mail.
Real mail. Woo!
Real mail. No,
Yes.
yeah, you were talking about how they give you all these case. What they did to me, and here it's called CODAD, behavioral health. Okay. Tons and tons of case managers after case man. And then I had coaches. And then I was in dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, for 3 years. And then I was, for 1 full year at the same time, I was going through chronic PTSD once a week, counseling. And that lady quit after I decided to go to another agency and get my BHT, behavioral health therapy, and recovery coach, RSS. And she was the one that helped me the most.
Yeah.
She quit, and so there is empathy, but you gotta keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure you're followed too. There's people out there that say, oh, it's on your head, you'll be fine. Middle finger.
Oh, if I told you some of the tricks that they do out there. I mean, I went to a specialist meeting and it was basically 366 questionnaire on, am I suicidal? and I filled it out and I wrote, why is every second question asking me if I'm suicidal? You know, these are psychologists. They're meant to be analyzing what the hell is going on, and all they're doing is programming and triggering. It's disgusting. Anyway, it came back as I forgot the terminology. They couldn't calculate either way where I sat. Inconclusive results. And I'm like, how can you be inconclusive? You get one side or you get the other. You know, one time when they called me into a specialist, they had a bloody hidden camera in the car with a microphone. And the driver didn't inform us as clients going to this facility. You know, these are the specialists who are analyzing me on my experiences of trauma. What the hell? Really? These guys wouldn't even survive 5 minutes in my life. Where they get the authority from? There's nobody out there who has authority over you. All right? That's one thing I learned from that. Okay, there's no specialist out there who can tell you what your life has been like. You have to stand in your own honor, tell the truth, accept the stuff that you've committed. All right, right your wrongs and step forth from there. If you continue to commit those crimes after becoming aware, then you will be held in judgment for those crimes because you haven't done anything to sort them out. And you know who you are. Anyway, she, this wonderful being, came to me, and in this dark journey she gave me was like, she showed me there's no point in me fighting her. You know, she could size shift, she could get bigger, massive. And when you're like this big against something so mighty, you don't fight it. I tried. That's when she showed me her abilities. So, okay, all right, I'll bow down a little bit. And she showed me that I had to get over this hurdle. And the hurdle was like a jagged fence, a corrugated jagged fence, like zigzags. If I land, I'm dead, I'm sliced up, you know, with barbed wire at the top. And when I went to take off, I had this big lazy boy chair on me, you know, like the old fashioned 60s big recliner, 60, 70 recliner, weighed a ton. Well, that was my grandfather's seat where he committed a lot of his pokey pedophile stuff. Okay. So anyway, it was never there. I'd never understood why I was carrying that chair on my back. It never, ever, you know. So I'm running along and I've got this chair and there's no way. And I'm saying to her, how am I going to get over that? And she told me, just do it. Just do it. So she said. And I'm like, and then I envisioned I'm like the 6-year-old running in this competition and I've got to win. I'm running as fast as my little legs can go, man. And I'm running. And before I knew it, I was over top of that fence and on the other side. And I'm slowing down. And I look back and I see her. She got a tiny little mouth. So it's very hard for her to smile. But I felt she was smiling at me. I had someone who was proud of me. Yeah, I never got that from my own family, what they called my family. Never got that. But I got it from a dimensional being. What the heck, man? So once I got that, a couple of days later, I went on to my water fast. And I kept asking her, how am I going to do this? She just kept saying, just do it. Just do it.
And when did you start?
I started on the 4th of July.
So you have not eaten anything for a little over a month?
That's right.
Wait,
33 days for me here in New Zealand. Okay. 33 days.
That's my number. That's my number. And today's video, finally.
Yeah.
You know that the being, she looks like aquatic to me. I
Okay.
very familiar.
You know, when I first saw her, because she came, there was three of them, and when she came in, she was the one who was like, it was almost like she was my guardian. Some teachers sort of, you know, she was. The other two stopped playing ping pong with me, and she stepped in. Another story for another time. And when she did that, I was thinking, because this is another form of telepathy. Telepathy is not just voice to skull, you hear it. It's also different levels of feeling states. Okay, you can feel it with your body around you as well. All right, it's feeling, it's aura. You know, you get into that state. You're always analyze. Well, this is me personally. I'm not going to say it's you, but I'm always analyzing every energy that comes in when I walk
Me
down the
too.
street. It gets too much sometimes. I have a hard time staying. I went to stay at a hotel. I thought I'd do a New Year's Eve party thing. Stayed at a hotel. Oh man, double cramp in both legs, couldn't move, felt like puking, couldn't be there. The Wi-Fi, the people, the frequency, it was just so toxic. It was so toxic, I couldn't do it. You know, it's like there's those that can because they're growing up in that frequency, and there's those that have escaped at the right time.
We sure did.
You know, yeah, yeah.
Did
So,
she tell you what her name was or anything?
oh, okay, sorry. I wanted to call her a mermaid, but she made very clear she was not a mermaid and she was not a naga. She
She
did
has
not.
legs and she's like skinny, and the way I
No,
see her, and she's not like that.
oh, okay. No, I've actually got a picture. I'll have to send it to you. I should have sorted this out, but I didn't. Sorry.
Oh, it's
I'll
okay
see.
because she just reminds me of somebody that I know under the sea.
She has a tail, okay, like a mermaid. My apologies. She's not a naga because her body's like almost like a snake, but she's got a tail. Um, and she is not a mermaid, not a naga. She is an ancient one. She dwells in the ether that is of the atmosphere we call water, but not of our earth. That's her message.
Beautiful. I know you and I love you. Thank you.
So, and the color, it just represents the frequency. They're like, what do you call those things? Chameleons. Like a chameleon, they can change their, you know, and they look very, very similar. It's an energy reading, so you know the difference. It's like I know when the other beings are coming in. I've got a regular contactee I call the flasher. Yeah, I didn't have any other name at the time. I never knew it was going to go this long. Okay. And so anyway, they've been coming for like 15, 20 years. And the first time I saw them was on an island called Waiheke Island. And the sky was clear everywhere else except for one massive thick black cloud. And there was these lights going around. We just got a video camera, and it was a VHS camera back in the day. And there was these lights going around, and there was these shoots of light coming down and stuff. And it's like, where are they coming from? And we rang around different places around the city, Auckland City. There were no stadium things happening, so there were no lights going up. There was nothing reported that there, and we saw it. We recorded it. When we loaded it, there was just static. So we never saw it. A few years later, we did the same thing, and there was like maybe 50 of us that saw this UFO at this function, and no one was able to record it. It was static, okay? And we all saw it. It was so right there. Anyway, the next time by that stage, we'd moved, we'd had other smaller encounters, like we have the solid, my friend has the solid white orbs come in. They like, he describes them as soccer ball shape with a tail. We've had a few of those come over the house and down and through past us, sitting in the chair, and they just shot through us. Oh, mate, there is just so many encounters that we've had. Now they're turning up. I mean, you can see the orbs that I've had. I've watched the orbs go from one color, follow me around everywhere I went. You can see that one particular orb in there. They have a particular pattern inside. One day I was having a little, I have fires at my house, and I like people to sit around the fire and just release, right? Okay, shaman. And my orb came in, and I started taking photos when I saw the flash, because I get different types of flashes. I get one type of flash, which means it's the 3D solid form that's off planet. And then I get the next sort, which is the orb type. Now, whenever I have a lot of interaction with the solid forms, the other ones come in too. It's almost like, and then the shadow beings and dimensionals come in. So it all happens at once.
I see that all the time. I totally get you. I go and I try and jog or run, and as soon as I look up, they're right there with me. And they're just communicating and spelling things out. Like yesterday I was driving and I'm like, what's up, guys? You know, there's a ship, and then it says Z Delta Force. I'm like, okay, what's up? You know, like this way. What's up? You know,
Yeah.
how's it going? Am I going tonight to go work with you guys? You know what I mean?
Well, over the times, these guys have now given me messages. I've said to them, I'm not gonna do this stuff with you just turning up the way that you do. It's too much on me. So now I want you to be polite. I'll be polite to you if you're polite to me. You be polite to me and let me know you're coming ahead of time. So now they send messages. I get blue orbs. I caught a light bulb one day where a blue orb came in, had the light on, and it went straight to the light bulb. The light bulb the whole room turned blue. I flicked the light off, and then when I looked up and took the light bulb was blue. I got photos of it. You know,
I've had that. Did it look kind of like a teal blue?
Yes, it is a teal blue.
Okay.
It is a teal blue.
I had that one here. I was healing my daughter using my shaman, the purple one, my shaman shawl, doing my, sending back energy where it doesn't belong, transmuting it, bringing back healing, love, acceptance. And there I was dancing around her. She was on the floor. It was a very chaotic situation, but once I helped heal her, because when you help heal people, they have to accept that you can't do it for them, right? She said, Mom, there was a blue light. And then so when I saw it, it was like a blue teal with a little smidge of white. And I asked who it was, and at the time I heard Archangel Michael. And I have two, as y'all know, I have 6 dragons that I have that protect me, and then I have Archangel Michael and Lucy. So it's just beautiful. What kind of message did you get? Anything when you saw the light bulb turning blue or anything like that, or peace or?
Sorry, I don't know what that was. It was a message just letting me know, because basically I'd seen one come through the wall and I saw my cat's reaction at the same time. You're looking at it, you see it, and you also know there's an animal there, and you can see the reaction. And we both followed it through the house. It could have gone through the walls. It went around through the bloody doorways. It had a level, it was showing me something. Then it came through the wall the next day in the lounge opposite my room. And then the 3rd day, it came in as the blue orb. The 4th day, I had all my devices ready. I knew I was going to have a night terror, but it wasn't. people equate night terrors to panic and the weight on their chest. There's another level to it. If you can break past all the fear factor that is involved, you will see that you are accessing different dimensions. All right. Now, this is what I realized, and they knew that I knew it. So they were doing it in a different form. So I set up, I've got a recording. I'll play it to you another time. I set up my recorder because I knew they were coming in. The body started to do its shake thing. I felt it. I knew it was coming, because the body shake was when the Greys first started coming and doing it. They put me and my partner at the time into a paralytic state. We were all awake and aware up here, but the rest of the physical couldn't move. Okay, it wasn't just the physical, it was the soul as well. We could not move out of that stance. And so when I say shake, that's the shake that I went into right before that paralytic state. But I learned how to break that. And so by breaking that, when they started coming in, I was aware. I snapped myself out of it, turned the recorder on, lay back comfortable, went back into that state, and it was like a door was opened, okay? And it was a blue and white door, and I just started following someone. I'm not going to name names at the moment. And when they first came into the room, that was a door. That was the door. It was painted that color. So anyway, we're seeing where this leads. Anyway, when the door opened, a tall grey came in, and he stood there with the door like he was like before some, he was the entourage, and he opened the door, and this other grey came in. You couldn't tell the difference between them. They looked exactly the same. So I don't know how their entourage shit works. Oh, sorry, their poop works. So they open. Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. Anyway, it's just an energy. So when they came in, I'm in bed like this, and the door's opened over here. Now there's no door there, guys. There's no door there. There's a bookshelf, and it's loaded. There's no way you could even push that open. So anyway, a door appears there. It opens. This grey steps in. This other grey steps in. Walks over. Walks into the middle of my bed. I'm sitting up, going, "Hi."
It's like, what do you want now?
And it was just like, I'm here for you to ask me questions. I'm like, oh, I don't have any. I didn't know what that was meant to be. If I knew that I would have had a list. Okay, I would have had a list. But I just knew something was coming in. I knew something, and just by working all of that out and actually having it happen brought me
and
to
it's
the
happening right now again. You're turning white.
Oh.
And pink. White and pink.
There's no reason. There's no reason. Everything's staying the same. All the lighting is the same.
We have DID, dissociative identity disorder. So we have different alters coming in at the same time.
All the time. Management, mate. Management.
Yep, management.
Yeah. So it's like, anyway, these beings came in, and just by seeing that I was correct in all my, analysis of how it played out, means that the next time it happens, I've got another piece to that puzzle, right? And this is just how it has been. All these stages throughout my life, no matter where it's been just like one lesson after the other. So when somebody says to me, when did you wake up? I can't actually give a true statement to that, because my awakening process is basically just levels and stages. It just depends on what's put in front of us and how we deal with it getting through, and whether or not we remember the moral of the story getting through, and how we behaved, how we reacted, and how we responded, whether we got through fight and flight. You know how you were saying about the psychology and stuff. I went through the same stages. The first one I went through, turned around and told my partner to leave me because it was a dangerous environment. I was a dangerous environment. Oh, and
Hey,
then
you know what I say? I come with the warning label. So the
Yeah.
people that I've dated, they're followed. They're
Yeah.
friend requested by, you know, military, DOD, ex-cops, friend, whatever. And then
Yeah.
their house has been broken into. It's like I come with the warning label now. It's like, you want to date me? First of all, you gotta be a god man, right? Gotta
Oh,
get
you're
your
gonna
shit
have balls,
together.
mate.
You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about that another day.
Yeah.
Warning, warning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So, oh, I don't even know where I was now. Oh, geez. Okay, where were we?
Well, I forgot to, but we can talk about your lab days, the nanotechnology, and then you'll
What?
remember the
Oh,
laboratory.
the lab. Okay,
You'll
okay.
remember right now. You will.
I basically got in. Okay, I'll go back. Okay, ding ding, it came back. Okay, the psychology side of it. The next psychologist I went to pretended to be my friend. One day she stepped out. I took some photos, and the orbs basically told me she was video recording, voice recording, everything recording, my actions, everything. She was a fake friend. She wasn't what. Okay, blacklisted for a reason. She didn't show up when she was meant to, and all of this. Through that process, I decided, I mean, this process went on for a number of years, and now I went out and started under a different name doing psychology. I wanted to know what the heck people were saying. I wanted to know the lingo. You know, I'm not a subject. I'm not going to be that experimental subject any longer. I've done my work. Okay, it's over. And so from there, I realized she showed her true colors. The government showed their true colors. All medical industries, government industries, anything connected to showed their true colors to me. Whenever I go into any shop organization, I know they're scanning for them before you even get out of your vehicle. Okay. I know that vehicles also have scanning. You know, there was a time when they went around replacing number plate bolts. Those number plate bolts are tracking devices. You know, I feel very sorry for the human race that haven't gotten to this stage. I'm glad that they never had to go through some of the stuff that we've had to go through. And in some sad cases, they need to wake up. They really need to wake up. There's so much more going on. It's a multi-dimensional scenario that's going on. And which timeline do you want? You know, I know where I'm working towards. I can't help these natural effects. I am a healer of some description. I don't know the full picture. I can't tell you 100% who I am, but what I do know of me, I can stand in honor of that. You know, I'm truthful to myself. If you can't be truthful to yourself, you can't be truthful to anybody else. If you don't know yourself 100%, don't claim to give anybody else 100% trust. Think about that one when you have to line up next, you know? So this is not just here on earth. This is a multi-level, you know, there's a lot of work we're doing, So
I
anyway,
agree
I
100%.
went off track again. What were we saying?
No, it's okay. We were talking about like how the psychologists and, you know, they try and label
Yeah,
us crazy. They labeled me as MI. When I told them I'm not taking your bleep bleep bleep
medication.
bleep 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 medication, I threw away your fucking, excuse me, my CPAP. Sorry guys.
Oh,
Um, I stopped taking the epidural shots. The epidural shots in my neck, the lower part. I have cervical radiculopathy. It's a lot of dang pain, a lot of pain. You know, they send pain to me every freaking day. They don't want me to, you know, they don't want me to sleep. It's part of their programming. But you know, when I went in there, the agency, they said, oh, well, you know, if you're going to be off of this medication, because I was on 10 medications, one of them was clonazepam, fluvoxamine, all that crap. When I told them, they were like, how did you get off clonazepam? That's a opioid.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know. So I would break it. There's a line in the medicine, right? Oh, the battery's going low. Let me plug in my computer. But anyway, they wanted to give me other medication. They wanted to give me gabapentin to keep me freaking, how do they say, addicted. I'll be back. I'm going to pause this because if not, we're going to lose the recording.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Stone Hobbit and Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts. Hello, everyone. It's Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts again. Welcome to our second show with Stone Hobbit. You like our glasses? She's wearing some 3D glasses there. I'm wearing these glasses my sister gave me one year. Anyway, we're just being goofy because we need to laugh, right?
Yes.
You can take them off if you want because they're making you dizzy.
They're making me dizzy. Who knows what might happen?
Star Trek, here we go.
Oh, Joyce, yeah, beam me up, Scotty. Let's go.
Let's
All
do
right.
this. Let's get this
Look,
started.
I've got a paranormal going on. I better get like, what's going on here, man?
It's from our melanin dominant heritage.
Okay. Yes, we're back.
We're back. I was asking you if something about love, like because I have like a lot of unconditional love and love, but I won't, you know, I'll F somebody up if I got it. You know what I mean? For protection.
Okay. Yeah.
So what do you think about love? I mean,
okay, for me, love was tainted. Love was tainted.
Like how? Like when did you find out that?
Oh, all right. Every girl grows up wanting to be their dad's special princess.
Yes.
So in some cases, your dad is your handler, and you don't really grow up with nice stuff happening. And you're walking along the street one day and you just happen to ask him because you're still stuck in a state of Stockholm syndrome, right? Using labels because most people can research that. And you ask him, why did you do what you did to me? And he turns around, he looks at you because you're still shorter than he is. He's not old yet. And he says to you, because I loved you. Because I loved you. You know? So what I had with my first relationship, first husband, I believed was love. And then came the abuse. Came the loss of a child, more abuse. And so I discovered, you know, love's not working out for me very well. You know, if this is what you call love, I really don't want to play a role in it. And then later on down the track, more and more little things showed up to me, and I realized that, yes, I would rather have appreciation, open appreciation, 50-50 communication, whatever I interact with. I appreciate another's journey, whether it's a tree, whether it's water and what the different stages it's gone through to get to me. I appreciate that journey because now I'm about to take all that information in and send it to the right areas. You know, I'm a great vessel of, you know, a storage of information, a storage of data and knowledge, multidimensional. And we are coveted because of, we carry this data. So that's where I ended up going. I ended up realizing that, you know, I can't trust anyone. I can't trust myself. I don't know myself 100%. I can still appreciate everything I've gone through to get to where I'm at. You know, I've done so much work in caring for others in so many different stages of their life cycle, including having, you know, in my teenage days, I had, you know, some would say I suffered but it became a regular thing. So I knew the signs as it was coming in. I would prep. I would have a premonition of someone going to have an accident in front of me or in a different location. And so I would prep myself. Okay, I would prep myself. I would get into a white dress so other traffic in the dark would see me. I would take torches. I would put out a couple of warning cones. I would have hot Milo or hot coffee or whatever with sweet sugar in it to avoid shock. I don't know where this information came from, but each time something happened, I'd add a little bit more to my repertoire of recovery, if you want to call it that. I had people ripped open in front of me, looking me in the eye on their way out, and their mate turning around and say, "Is my mate all right?" How do you answer that? How do you answer that? I did the best I could, and that was to say, "He's in no pain now," and just make sure I continued with that guy until somebody else took over. You know, it was always horrific. It was always horrific, you know, fingers being chopped off in accidents and, you know, plane crashes of people that you knew, but you're blood connected to, but you never met. You know, you later find out down the track that you're bloody relations. Sorry,
Right.
blood relations. You know,
Bloody
it's like,
blood relationship.
yeah, exactly. And so there was the premonitions,
Right.
and it just kept going. There was, you know, one thing after another. One day I sat down with a group of people. We were chilling, if you know what I mean, and somebody put a map in front of me, and I saw these red dots, like somebody had got a marker and dabbed them on the, you know. And I said to a couple of my friends who owned the house and stuff, who were having a little ching party. And they said, "No, there's nothing on the map." I said, "Yeah, there, right there, I can see it." And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here?" You know. Anyway, eventually, over a whole lot of woo-woo stuff, we went out and eventuated, and we found stuff. We found a body. And this reoccurred a few times. So that came up. So I realized that there were abilities showing themselves. You know, it's like the day before I went for my driving test, 16, I was 16 years old, just before that. We had a little party and I had a vision, and it just blacked out everybody that was in the room. There was nobody else there, just me. And I'm watching this accident unfold where this guy runs out across the road between a truck and a trailer, because we have like a truck and it has two trailers on it, right? And they're joined. I don't know what other countries have. Anyway, this guy just ran between the two of them, and he looked like he was wearing pajamas, and he just, and I don't know how I was so close to seeing that. The next day I went for my license, and I'm driving to the, where I sit at. So I'm just getting a little bit of practice, and I'm going across this bridge called Carrington Bridge. And this guy out of bloody nowhere just runs across the road in front of the bloody truck in front of me. And honestly, it just happened. And a shoe hit the bonnet of my car with a foot in it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's
Anyway,
okay. I know we shouldn't laugh, but it kind of reminds me of the Tales of the Crypt when it's just
I
to the
know
right, lady.
it sounds really,
We've been
honestly,
desensitized. We have been desensitized with these stupid programs. What do you
yeah,
want us to do? Like,
exactly. It's like they keep, pardon the pun,
they want to
throwing
shame
things.
us, right?
Yeah, they want to do everything, but I still passed. Okay, I still passed my test. I wasn't gonna let them win. So in some aspect, I was already aware of the tug of war going on, between the forces. I've seen them, like one day I switched the TV off and I'm cleaning away, and I turn around, I look at the TV, the reflection, it's off, and I see this massive being in a reflection. I turn around to see where it's reflecting from, the wall at the back and stuff, to work it all out, because I'm logic. I work with logic. I've got to analyze always. And there was nothing there. So I turn back and look at the TV, he's still there. And then I turn around, look at the wall, and now he's there. And it's like, whoa. And then an encounter started to unfold. Tick, 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 tick. So there's been a lot of different beings come in. I have to say, being abducted on different levels, dimensionally. I was on a table at one stage, there was 3 greys around me doing something. I didn't feel any fear or anything. It was like, yeah, I've been here before sort of thing, hurry up, get it done, do what you got to do. I need to get out of here. And then this other being came in, and it was a giant, build. I'm talking about very muscular, very sort of. And I can't believe I made those sounds on.
No, actually, we do make sounds. Let me tell you something. A brother of ours, SSP, he has not come out yet because he still has younger kids and everything. And I was asking him, he was asking me questions and all that, and we were talking, and I said, I thought everybody did noises like we do. Like how we explain something and we make these noises. And then I said, I thought all of us can see and hear a concerto, rewind it, 3/4, whatever, see everything around you, above and below, the movies, the music. When I have to listen to music 24/7, unless I'm like doing something, that I can't listen to music. But it's like I can rewind, I can see where all the musical instruments come in. The words I will actually decipher, read between the line what it actually is saying.
Yeah.
They do that. And I always have to mention this, like if I'm on Pandora or YouTube listening to music or something, when the commercial comes on, I will either pop out of it or lower the volume. And then, because I'm very conscientious about that, guarding the gates, 1111 of our mind,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see programming everywhere. I mean, I flick the TV on or something. I mean, we don't have a TV here. I just basically use the internet. So I've kind of always glanced at the news because of programming when I was younger, and my grandfather being a politician, it was enforced in us to watch. Now, it was taught to me not to watch the news. You're not watching the news, north, east, south, west, or well, I'm sorry, what is that? North, east, west, south, news, media being a herald, somebody who passes gossip. So no, I'm just breaking some spell casting here, people. It goes back to the Magi and before then. And so I watched. I got to start learning to read between the lines. I got to see the stories, these farmers, politicians, okay, directing, doing what they've got to do. You're making it look like one country's against another country when actually it's them up here making us down here do this here, brother against brother. Well, we don't need to. You just got to stop participating in another person's war. Okay? Work out what you want to do. I mean, there's so many that have gone out there and allowed themselves to be, implicated. Moving on.
No, yeah, I totally get you.
I mean,
Uh,
this is this is a multi-dimensional silent war, but
yeah,
it's also an awakening and an awareness. We being, there's a whole lot, there's different waves that come in, and I have to accept, I have to acknowledge and accept myself for being in this position of awareness, because at some level, as much as I am a student, I am also a teacher. And
right.
I got to make sure I do the very best that I can be, because I want to be my higher self. And I want to make sure that whatever comes after me, I give the highest level of information and ease into that information that I can.
Yes,
You know, I'm at the level of transmutation.
right.
It's, I can take a negative energy, I can listen to it for a second and turn that frequency and send it back.
Yes,
So,
I do that too. And there's so many people that come into our lives. I'm pretty sure you can relate. And they have all this pain and baggage, and I can see myself in them, how I was before.
yeah,
Poor me, things happening left and right every day, them blaming other things. If it's not one thing, it's another. Well, that's bullshit. Excuse me, but it is. We are in control of our lives, of our thoughts. And I choose to stay away from the matrix. I say I grow up to pay the bills once a month to the matrix, and that's it. Because in reality, I'm always going to be a child, right? But and the child really, the child is, if you believe in higher self, it is you. It is me.
yeah,
It's our real self. It's freedom. And what do adults do to kids? They put them in, all kinds of prison, whatever crap, and they tell them words. I mean, it happens to all of us, especially in the program. Our parents were MK'd Ultra. In this case, my handler was my mother, and my true love was my father, other than my true love being my children and me. You know, if you look at Maleficent, true love's
yeah,
kiss, you know, um, and it's Maleficent that turns out to kiss her daughter, which is actually not even blood in the Matrix, but it is part of her dimension and her world.
mm,
See, and they want to divide us, like you said. They want people to have the iron uh, castle against the beautiful, as above, so below, everything unseen and unseen and unseen coming together, you know, and
yeah,
protection and love and all that. Now, I can relate. I'm glad we had this talk about the love, because I do love myself unconditionally, and I do trust myself. I do. I've gotten to that point. I'm very grateful that that I have. It's taken a lot of freaking work, tears, whatever. Um, However, for me, I have yet to experience what is love, true love, in a passionate, intimate relationship with a man. I have yet to see that, because when I'm in a relationship, I give my all. I
mm,
I am my person. I am real.
yeah,
I am I have nothing to hide.
yeah,
See, so what ends up happening is when these, people that I've dated see what they're lacking or afraid of in me that I have, or a mirror, or they run away. However, however, I have seen, because I am an activator as well as you are, um, they they have to think about what they're
yeah,
doing. There's, I see it, and I feel the energy when they leave, and I decide to break, right? to break that cord or relationship in my Merkaba, in my soul, and in everything, in my whole being. I send it to the dimensions and I block them from me. Okay.
Yeah. From
And then right. And then, you know, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call it, Yewa, Awe, whatever, Mahat, the AI matrix, the ancestors, whoever the F you want to call, they have to deal with that person. And that person has to deal with themselves and these issues. And that to me has made me feel better, because in this community, especially, if they find out you're dating someone and then you're not, and then you're dating someone else and you publicize that, they call you a hoe or a slut.
Yeah, see, I don't really care about name calling and terminologies like that. I mean, if all that does for me is show where somebody's level is at. You know, if they haven't matured past the name calling, I'm not going to waste any energy on saying anything to that person. Just move on, right? They're just not worth it, right? Yeah, I have this thing, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you what I call it personally, but I've tried to look it up and stuff, and the closest I've come to is spindrift. And it's the ability to, basically, I can park up on the side of the road and I'll have a total stranger jump in the passenger side, tell me their life story within 5 minutes. I've said one or two key things to them. They get out. I never see them again. You know, I have total strangers start talking to me as if they've known me their entire lifetime. It's like, oh, and here I am struggling to work out who the heck are they? Do I know them? Where do I know them from? You know, I drive along the road and somebody catches my glance as we're passing, and it's like, oh, who are they? You know, I go into a repair store because my chainsaw broke down. Yeah, you know, I chainsaw wood for fire and all that shit.
Heck yeah. Strong woman, you might be the next Hulk we're looking for.
Yeah. And out of the blue, he says, can I talk to you sometime? And I don't know whether this is a come on or what it is. And he's like, I know you're a healer. I really need to talk to you. I got a problem. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? You know, it's just like, we're reflecting something that others can see or feel, or, you know, we have to admit to ourselves that we are more than just this physical entity. This physical entity is absolutely amazing. When you start seeing what it's capable of doing and what it's actually doing to keep you alive, so your brain, your soul, your spirit, your consciousness, whatever you want to label it, is experiencing, you got to appreciate it. You got to look after it. You got to feed it. You got to study what the crap is they're putting into our foods. It's processed. That means pro-death, okay? Cessed is ceased. That means death. So pro-cease. Come on. You don't want to put spell casting like that into your body.
Cease and disease, you know?
Yeah.
Dis-ease is it's all it is a dis-ease in your body. You know, if people could just learn how to talk to your body, to their body. That's how I healed myself. I spoke to my DNA, my cells. Yeah. When the incident happened to me where I wanted to take my life and they didn't let me go. They had to cut me open twice, took almost all my large intestine, right? Blah, 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 blah. I saw my body heal.
Yeah.
First year, and then the second year they had to cut me up, and again I saw my body heal, and I'm like, holy F. And then I gained all this weight because they had me on all that stuff that we talked about earlier, and it's like, you know what, I thought, what if I talk to my heart? What if I talk to my hair?
Yes.
What if I tell my teeth I love them? What if I tell my heart I love my heart? And I
Yeah.
thank them, my every organ, every cell of my being. And I, boom, saw me transform. Yeah, it took tears and it's still taking a lot of pain, tears and sweat and all
But
that. But we did
you're
it.
healing. You're healing. I was a bit different. I don't know quite how it happened, but I became this little tiny speck of light energy. And I went inside myself and I started traveling all over myself. And I started looking at what was not working properly. My countries weren't communicating properly. Why weren't they communicating? They weren't getting fed, looked after properly. There was some country was starving, some country was flooded, some country was, and so I had to flush. So I did, and I remembered it. And then when I started working with her, the ancient one, I'm here now. And basically, I've gone back. We learn all of this stuff. It comes in ebbs and flows, and we start listening to ourselves. We listen to our skin because it's an organ. It's an organ. What is an organ? An organ is something that makes harmony. It makes frequency. It picks up all of this frequency information and it has to analyze it. It has to filter it and analyze it and put it in the right place. And if you're a mess out here, you're a mess in here. So clean up your outside yard, helps clean up the inside yard. All right. And then when it starts coming back in, it gets faster. And before you know it, you are flowing and the information is coming in and you've changed your whole lifestyle around. Everything about you is transmutated. There is a wave that's come in, and I've noticed this. It came in about the middle of June. For me, I noticed it about middle of June. Southern Hemisphere, by the way, down the bottom. And so all the way up to you guys. And it was like, start looking after yourself. With all this stuff, all these distractions and everything they're throwing at us, why? Because we are evolving, because we are activating, because we are getting in touch with each other. They're not going to switch off too many things all at once, because you do that, they stop getting their feeding. They got to have that constant feed. All right. They got to have that constant feed, but they may make it fluctuate to make it look like you're in a fear state, create some fear state, and I've seen this everywhere. It's you got to look after yourself. Know the plants. Go back. You've got the knowledge. I call it innate knowledge. You've got it because you've been here so many times. You've lived on this glorious planet. See, you said you were leaving. You were going to move on. I don't feel, I know how fantastic it is out there and stuff, and I now know from being abductee in so many cases, from them to them to them, that I'm this place here is beautiful. It's just us. We need to clean up our backyard before we go off and try to create another toxic society somewhere else. Whatever's happening here, we need to clean it up here first, because we carry it with us like a poison. Whatever they put into us medication wise, like you, I had my back broken in 2000, and it was bad. It was really nasty. I had a lot of information, and that was kind of a ritual. There's so many rituals that took place. There was like a circle of stones under my bed with my undergarments with blood poured all over it. When I say home invasion, that's one sort. Another home invasion is you're a kid and you're listening for that vehicle that's miles away, and the minute you fucking hear it, you go into the state of, okay, different altar. I now understand them to be altars. It's different altar, different personality, different behavioral patterns, guard myself, do everything I can to stay out of the way of, It's going to happen regardless. There's a look in the eye, the tap on the table, you know, many, many different things. To having your house broken into, and to having ritual attacks, to having smart devices listening to everything you're doing, having your phone tapped, having people standing at your blooming gate with their big boom cameras in suits, having UFOs fly across, having planes with UFOs or whatever they are, you know, spheres going up into above your house, helicopters with spheres. I got videos. Shadow
Yes,
being.
yes, I go through the same thing every day. That's why, you know, when I'm in my me, when it's me, I'm going to the gym 3-4 hours a day. There's an altar 4 times a week, running in the weekend, right? But when those uh, code words or scenarios happen that you just described, I switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I switch because I hear, I feel, I see that something is out there. Do not go out there.
Yeah.
I have to guard myself here in my home,
Yeah.
because if I go out there, I start getting anxiety and I'm like, I can't. I there's some people that have a problem with me because I don't go out with them all the time. You know what I mean? I keep to myself as much as I can,
Yeah.
because I see things that are going on and or that are going to happen, just like you described. And there's all these things that are following you. There's all these things happening, noises, words, like I say, people that come to you. You know,
Yeah.
when you go to a grocery store or the gym or out there somewhere, you're like, this mother effer was sent to me. Oh, he's taking an hour to watch me today.
Yeah.
Or, oh, he's new here, really?
Yeah.
Then you don't see them again for, you know,
Yeah.
you know that you know who's watching you.
Yeah.
But if you explain that to your family or someone that's a
Uh,
normal,
honestly, with my
forget about
family,
it.
I had to leave my biological family, my siblings, because it got the it was my life. I had to at some stage say, hey, look, I can't do this anymore. I got to leave. I got to get out. There's no way out. I was looking for escape. I had to get out. And even to the right to the last minute, when I got out of one country, it was the whole way till I got here. And when I got here, I didn't know the person that was standing in front of me. It wasn't the same person that I left. You know, I was waiting. I didn't think I was going to make it to the next country. You know, when I left home, I said I was leaving. I wasn't coming back. The ride that I had, I was raped on the way out. Then the handler found out that I was trying to escape and made sure that I had nothing on, no money or anything on me. You know, we're talking about my father. Okay. We're talking about my father. Okay. Pedophile. And and the government here doesn't think that it's a problem. So anyway, moving on. Um, I managed to hide out I hid out $50. You know, I called it funny money. Somebody taught me along the line, always make sure you got some funny money, $50 somewhere hidden on you, so you know you got something. And when I arrived back here, I felt like I was being watched the whole time on the plane. You know, I could have gone to the police that day, you know, when all this shit went down. But for me, it was get the hell out of there. It's going to happen again. Get out now. Get out now. And it was like something guided me to get out. Something was watching me, both negative and positive, on that plane getting out. And when I landed and got back to the next house, but the thing was, I went from one bad negative situation to a Nada. And it was all, through the bloodlines, through the, it was programmed. But once you see the programming, you can break it. It becomes easier. You start seeing the triggers that they put in place. You can break them. You just got to realize that for all the negative stuff that they've built up right along the line, and then they say, we'll bring in our specialists to help you. They don't know. They don't have a bloody clue. Really. I've worked with people with disabilities all my life since I was at school. Disabilities, they have different ways of communicating. You just got to take 5 minutes out of your time to listen to them. And same with the elderly. I worked with the elderly through different stages of aged care. Take the time. We have lost touch with ourselves, our ancestral selves of those that came from the land. We knew the weather, we knew the seasons, we knew the wellness, we knew the plants. We could communicate with the land, we could communicate with the animals. There was a time, and we will come back into that time again. And it's not so much about, for me, finding my higher self, because I already had this war with her. I said to her, like, if you're meant to be my higher self, why have you let me go through this? As I did with the images of Jesus coming and all these different beings coming in. Why are you not helping me? Why are you letting me go through this stuff over and over again? And there was never an answer. I still do not have an answer or explanation. And I now don't expect one. So by not expecting it, it's going to show up somewhere. Like getting back to what we were saying earlier on, growing up, you don't expect to see something. It's like, I know that there's going to be footage one day of me as a child in these scenarios that's going to come out. I am very aware of that. That's the last thing on the scale that they can throw at me. There is nothing else. They can take everything else from me, including me. It doesn't matter anymore. I've deprogrammed from fear, false illusions appearing real. Just investigate them. Allow yourself to investigate, to be that adventurer. If you don't want to, stay in that little room. Sometimes staying in that little room is really good. It's good energy. You get to listen to yourself. You get to listen to your function. By me doing this fast, I'm listening to the function. I'm listening to every organ. Now, everything is an organ. I look at the spell casting of the words they use on us, medically right through across the board. So I'm listening to me as a healer, knowing that I've had past incarnations where I have been in a cave. I've been that medicine woman. I've done those positions that I know that I have. It's another story for another time.
No,
And so
I can relate. I've also been in the caves as a medicine woman, and I can relate.
it doesn't matter what timeline.
Right.
It's the information that we gather, because it's not just external, it's also internal. It goes a lot further than that.
Oh yeah.
It feeds your abilities in the other dimensions. I that's one of the reasons I believe I have so much. I've got they've written words in the clouds. I get cloud ships.
Yes, I see them too. I love the fact that you and I can talk about this, because some have not, and you get information. Like if I look up and I see a ship, I'm like, okay, who are you? And then it'll shapeshift to an animal being, so it'll be like the reptilian, the Draco, or it'll be the other day I saw the whales, and then the fish beings, the hammerheads. They're at war, up there trying to help also Mother Earth, and they're fighting against each other pretty much. And we're here holding the grid line, and of course we also go on our missions, right? We are the guardians. of this galaxy. We are. Some people say, well, because I was looking at the number 144,000, and I'm like, okay, well, if you add a 1 to the zeros, that could be like the 12, 13 bloodlines, right?
Yeah.
Because we are O negative, I'm O negative, I'm royal bloodline. We are, most of us are. It's just that, they give that Rogam shot to our babies when they're in our womb, and then they change them to positive. Right now, there's a war going on because they want to find out who are we? Where are we?
Yeah.
So me connecting with you, we run a risk, right? But who the F cares? They already have our DNA. They already know our name. They know where the F we live.
I'm so over that.
It's
I'm so over
yeah.
that. I've got nothing to hide.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to hide. I protect myself against certain elements out there, but I'm happy to fight them as soon as they show up. It's like I don't procrastinate. I
Nope.
think I work with my environment. I see what's going on. These chemtrails, come on. Any government that is still carrying on chemtrails by now with all the different chemicals in it, come on, that's treasonous. They're killing us. All right, they're not telling us the truth about that. Then they're putting 1080 poisoning on the land so that animals die off, so that should a day come where we need to go and hunt these animals for food, caveman, it's going to kill you anyway. The waters are going to kill you anyway. Then they're going to burn off all the trees. There's nowhere to hide. They're putting up all the frequency towers. Everybody's getting whatever. And once that is clicked in, then when they turn the frequency up, everybody will do as they're bloody told.
I know, girl. I know.
Right.
I need to go to the restroom. So do you want to end it now or
whatever you want to do, honey? I'm happy. I'm enjoying a chat with you. It's like keeping it real.
Yes. Okay, we'll be right back, guys. Keeping it real with Stone Hobbit. Hey, that might be a channel, a name for your channel. With Veronica Bartolini, Unchained Hearts, and Stone Hobbit. Rock and roll, baby. We'll be right back. And we're back, keeping it real with Stone Hobbit and Veronica Bartolini with Unchained Hearts. Is love a program, darling Stone?
I say it is.
I say it is too. I second the last 10-4 rubber ducky. Yeah, because it's their feeding grounds. Number one feeding grounds is sex, love, and you were talking about emotions, right?
Okay, there's like, okay, with love comes the jealousy, the fear, all the lust factor, all these imaginations, the fantasies, all of it is connected. Then you've got all the triggering outside, you've got the perfumes, you've got the scents, you forget about all these other senses because you're just focusing on one, but you're being affected by all of them. So all of your senses are sort of, I don't really want to use the word, but they're under attack. They're being provoked. They're being stimulated, so you're thinking you're in this particular state. And I've seen some of these parasitical entities, and once you've seen one, you'll see them all over the place. They're all over the place. Okay, it's just like a fiction that we have, but you can shake it. So anyway, when you produce on all these different points of emotions, like your lust, your jealousy and all, it all goes to the same place. It all goes to the same place. Yeah, if you can think about it, it's lush being drawn out of all these different funnels into wherever it's got to go. It's for me, it's like I can't love. That might sound really horrible to people, but it's where I come from, and it's not a bad thing for me. It's okay. I see perspectives differently to others. There's no judgmental shit needed here. And it's like, I appreciate, I have gratitude, I have empathy. I look at, okay, I might not see the entirety of somebody's journey through that whole process, but I know there are elements because I can read certain frequencies, I can read behaviors, from facial tics to the way body language, the way they come across, the eyes. There's lots of little telltale signs. Now we're all aware of this. It's just how much time are you going to spend recognizing your abilities, what you're actually already doing. And then when you start thinking about it, you start noticing you're doing it more, and you start seeing more parts of these abilities. And we're all always doing it. So when it comes down to love, it's like, I'm not going to get caught up in the trap of saying to someone, like you're having sex with someone, for instance, oh, that feels really good. I'm in love. Oh, that, keep doing it. Keep doing it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like, well, where does that come from? Where's that state going to? What is it that you're actually loving about this action that you're doing? When you really get into the nitty gritty of it, I'm not going to take away the pleasure state of it for you. But when you get down to it, it's like you can still have pleasure after the knowledge, and it turns into tantric. You have a better respect for yourself. You have a better respect for your partner or whomever, wherever you go. It's when you start respecting yourself and you start respecting that other being, giving gratitude, giving appreciation, the body shape and stuff, you start seeing where people have come, the journey that they've done. Knowing that the minute you start any closeness, you're already interacting on a multi-dimensional scale. So you've got to do this with respect. You've got to do this gently. You can't just go smashing in. You've got to go in gently. Your worlds may collide with somebody else's worlds. You've got to get that balance. And then you come back in a bit more, and then you start seeing, you start getting a bit closer, and you realize that there's certain areas, boundaries, elements. Okay, you've got a journey over here, they've got a journey over here. Which path are you going to take? I wrote down, there was this thing that came in when we were talking before, and it's funny how we just get to here now. The path is not always the path for you. So someone else's path, and it took me straight back to something I watched as a kid, Sinbad, and he was walking on a path and there was these temptations all around him, and everybody else had turned to stone when they stepped off. I'm going to have to find that now that it's come up. This is the way they work with me. They throw something in and they go, now you have to have a look at that.
Oh no, definitely. When I was on the break, I said I gotta talk to her about body language, and we gotta talk about body language. And you just brought that up. So yeah, we're
Yeah,
connected.
it's there. It's there. It's like, where in the 100th monkey do you want to be? First or last? Okay. Now, if you pick first, don't forget there has to be a center point to that first and last. And that can be turned around at any time. And you could become last instead
Yes.
of first. All right. So you need to be prepared no matter what area you are. And when you're giving out your best, I mean, there are going to be so many different levels and stages to this awareness and awakening of it. And the ones that are they can hear it and they can see it where somebody else is at, don't go in and poo-poo where they're at and put them down and be nasty about it and all of this, because you're just showing what that level is that you're at. We're there to encourage. You can't help everybody. Don't put too much energy out there. You will suffocate. There's a lot of leaching going on. There's so many different activities happening right now. We've got stuff happening out in space. We've got the satellite stuff. We've got the space wars. These are all different levels I'm going down. Okay.
And we also have underground,
Yeah.
under Antarctica, you know, and other places as above, so below. But you know, we can't always like be looking down at our cell phone without looking
No.
up at the sky and then looking down and around. And it's multi-dimensional, like you said. Um, so I was thinking last night, real quick, because I don't want to forget, why do women and men get so old when we can talk to our DNA and our blood, right? And our cells? This is what happens with the sex love programming. They take the loosh out of the humans and they make them old, thinking about all these programs. Now imagine, if you might, for 1 minute, like we're talking, what if we just appreciate, like you said, your partner at whatever time, or partners, okay, whatever relationship at the moment you're in, appreciate them, you know, stop saying I love you when you're having sex, and stop saying give me more, because you're actually robbing them, but then they are robbing you and him,
Yeah.
you know. So it's makes sense what you're saying about the love programming, you know, the Valentine's, the flowers. Why do you think that cherub is there with the arrow? Boom.
Yeah.
Because that's their next victim, baby. Wake up, people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many levels on that. The cherub, the heart shape, you know, the phallic symbols, all of this other stuff. There's so many levels to it. You know, you've got to appreciate yourself. When you can appreciate yourself and your feeling and your senses, and you know yourself enough, then you start appreciating somebody else that you're with, the animals, the plants, the food you're putting into your system. You start looking a little bit deeper, and before you know it, I mean, this is happening automatically everywhere. You know, I'm doing my best. I'm putting it out there. I'm doing my best. Okay. And we're all beaming up. We're all beacons, and there is a change happening. I saw myself a long time ago when I was younger as some form of guardian, and I'm really not one for the hairy fairy labels, guardian and all the bloody over the rainbow stuff. I'm not. Guardian's the best thing I can, you know, and so I was, for an early age, I was working in first aid. I was having premonitions and going through negative stuff and running away from home to survive, and I was learning first aid. You know, at the same time I was scalping dingoes, you know, top and tail, around the Lindy Chamberlain time. Okay, you know, you got $25 for a scalp and tail. There's all these different areas of training. Yeah, when I was able to break some of the programming, I had to put it into the category that I best could relate, best could understand, and, you know, break down the information. So for me, instead of it being a school, I was able to go, no, I've been in training because I've had to go through this form of torture. I wouldn't put anybody through that stuff. You know, this is not normal behavior. You know, and for people to turn around and then say, oh, it's all right, let them get away with it, you know, it's like, what? That's not normal behavior either. And then you see the morals in all the programming on the music and stuff. I've learned how to transmute the negative energy from music into positive energy and use it for myself, you know, but mine is about putting that good energy out there and healing what I can around me. You know, I try not to cause too many waves, and when it comes down to the loving frequency and that sort of, there is a frequency there, and you can call it love if you want to and stuff, but I feel very strongly that this is a program. The whole Valentine's, all of that is, everything is commercialized. If you look into the facts behind Valentine, you'll see it's bloody. You see, it's actually ritualistic.
Yeah,
BS,
the females
right?
would get rid of their male partners, the sacrifice and shit in
Yeah, so,
for Valentine's.
and there's so many other areas of barbaric practices that they shouldn't be happening now. They shouldn't be happening now. What happened, people? Why have people behaved this way? We've got to stop this stuff. Why are governments permitted to do this? Why are people not realizing that all these governments are doing the same thing to everybody at the same time? They can't be doing it for no reason because they haven't got along till now. So how come that's happening? You've got to be a skeptic. You've got to be an investigator. You've got to question your own questions and get back up sometimes. You've got to take the footage. You've got to keep paper records. You've got to back everything up, and you've got to be honest, because everything you say and do can and will be held against you. So you tell the truth, they got nothing to work with, and it's better for
Exactly.
you. It's healthier. When as a phlebotomist, as a lab technician, I got to see living healthy cells. I got to see some weird stuff inside people's blimmin' waste products. Okay, people, we are disgusting. Clean your act up. So anyway, but by doing that, I got to see how mine was working. See, I was born with an immunity to tuberculosis, and that's another story for another day. That's through genealogy, gene manipulation through family lines. Another day. But I wanted to know how I was working, how I was functioning. And when wasn't the plan when I began. I just was getting credits for the job I wanted to do. Okay. So, and I missed out. So I bounced into here. Everything has been by design. Everything I have learned, every position, job, whatever they've put me in, has been by design. And it's only been short enough for me to get as much information as I needed before they moved me on to the next bloody course or station.
Yes.
Laboratory. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
My cats are meowing. What is it? They want love. See?
Dinner time.
Love, it's it's like live, love, evil. Is it, it could be twisted, the L.
Yeah, turn it back to front.
When we were kids, we would say loser,
Yeah.
The L, the love can be switched.
Yeah.
So, but I think with my animal, I don't like to call them animals. My ancient beings that are my best friends here, my cats, they communicate, and yours too. You have 5, you said, right? And they, like you said, they all have different personalities.
Yeah.
But I feel so much, I guess we could say, appreciation.
Yeah.
And it's true. Their frequency is so true. They're so protective and loving. I got to get away from the word loving. What can we use other than appreciation?
Just appreciate.
Yeah.
Just appreciate. If you practice saying it to yourself, it's giving you a form of acknowledgement. That acknowledgement is healing and clearing these areas inside yourself that you have been so overcast by spell casting. Get my drift?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you tell somebody the "I love you" phrase, it's gonna be like,
it's like saying I'm sorry and you don't even know what you're bloody sorry for.
Yeah, and also you're expecting them to say "I love you" back.
Yeah, and they never fucking do. Oh, excuse me.
They don't. It's okay. F-bomb. Warning. This show ain't for kids, okay?
Correct.
They already know.
I have swearing to it, so I really do.
I always say even angels swear and dragons swear because I've heard them.
It is a form of expression, and there are phonics connected to it. I just haven't found them yet.
It's a releasing when you use the F word or whatever cuss word that you're feeling. At the
Yeah,
time, you're just releasing it out of your system. Just
yeah.
like when you're detoxing. How much fat have you lost? 30 pounds?
Oh mate, honestly, okay. This is quite heavy duty for me to like do this.
Yes, do it.
This is so bad. I feel so bad that, I got that heavy. I got that heavy. That just means there's a lot of stuff that I had to deal with. And I realized it. And when I did, it was like, okay, I've covered all the psychological areas of all of these invaders. Now I'm working on the armor that was built up. So when I started, I was 130 kgs. Yes. And that is, where did I see? I wrote that down for you somewhere here. 286 pounds.
Mhm.
And I started on the 4th of July, and I have lost 40 pounds so far.
Yes, I'm very proud
And,
of you.
and I feel great. I've had my
Walk
lulls,
on.
but that's just where I realize I haven't had enough electrolytes. Like I'll have a certain balance, and then I'll go and do something like mow the lawn or chase cows. Or something that you do in the outbacks of New Zealand. And
I would love to live out in the outdoors like that. I really I want that. It's so hard living in the city, you know.
honey, I'll tell you, I lived in a city. I've lived out in the outbacks of the city, and I've lived in rural. And it doesn't matter where you live, you're going to come across the same sort of problems everywhere. So basically, it goes back to clean up your backyard, turn it into something that is zen for you. And then when you're comfortable, you'll find something better that'll guide you to be at. That's
Thank
what
you.
that's what they did to me.
Thank you. I needed to hear that. Getting back to the low programming that you're talking about right now, I 3 days ago I was like, okay, I always ask myself questions. So I said, okay, why is it that they have this program for big curvy women? I am so thick, and then men are also, or whatever women. They're going to be in tune to the skinny chick, the fat curvy chick. I don't mind saying fat because I'm in my mind, I have body dysmorphia, so I'm always going to be
Yeah,
fat. But
yeah.
but I'm not. Get it? It's
It's
that's
part
what
of the
keeps me going.
programming.
Right. It's part of the
Yeah,
programming.
yeah.
When I was a child, my mom would drink these diet pills, and then she would regurgitate, cut herself. I did the same thing. So, or starve myself, you know. Um, so it's programmed, and it's part of the sex, love, pedophilia
It's
crap.
we're bombarded with it. It's everywhere. Okay, it's across every format that's out there, every platform that's out there, trying to brainwash you and tell you what the ideal is. Okay, but when you get into the nitty gritty of it, you start studying the human anatomy and you start seeing the cell life and stuff. You will learn by doing that, and you test yourself. You become your own personal experiment instead of allowing the government to experiment on you. And within 3 days of fasting, you changed your entire life around. Okay, you've eaten up dead cells, you've produced new stem cells that go along and start repairing you. You change your whole mindset. So there are so many ways and elements that we haven't been taught about that actually exist. So when you, oh God, it's gone again. You said a question. Go again.
Oh,
Oh, I
about
was getting to
the
something.
curvy thing, the skinny thing, all that crap.
That's
Makeup, perfume.
look. No, you only do it for yourself. Don't worry about anything else out there. I'm not doing it to look sexy and all of this and get real. I'm not going there. I'm doing it because I can. I've gotten myself to a stage where I want to know how I function, how I work, all my organs. I want to hear my organs sing. I'm listening and I'm seeing changes here and there. And the weight loss is a bonus because I'm moving better. I'm adding several ingredients. I'll tell you right now. Main ingredient is water.
We are made out of water and salt, so.
Yeah. So I have Himalayan pink salt, turmeric, cayenne pepper. Sometimes I put cinnamon in, but I seem to get a little bit of acid when I have that. When I get a bit of acid, I just put a little bit of baking soda in on just a bit of water, and it settles everything down. The body needs its bicarbs. Saffron's good for a lot of things, appetite, smell, all your senses. It helps with your eyesight, you hear. There's so many benefits. I'm just loving what I'm doing. I have my lull days where I've got absolutely no energy, and that's just because I haven't balanced my electrolytes and my pH level and stuff. It's sort of just gone wit. But I work out what it is. Like if my lungs will tell me something or my kidneys will tell me something, and it's like, okay, I'm listening to them, they're telling me something. So it's about communicating with all the organs. Once they've all been cleaned and sorted out, I'm seeing a lot of physical change. And yeah, one of these days I'll be saying I'm in a skin suit. I used to, but I'm not complaining right now. I'll deal with that when I get to that bridge.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm seeing things moving again. It's like every now and then you'll go through this lull where all the stuff that I was seeing has like gone a little bit, and it's like, oh, I can breathe. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, they're coming back again. Okay, am I ready? So now when I'm seeing the flashes, I just sit up and I say, okay, look, if you're here, communicate, show yourself. No more of this cloak and dagger BS. I'm tired of it. I know you're there. You've shown me enough stuff. Now manifest. Okay, we are ready. And for those that aren't, I'm sorry.
Too bad, so sad, she said.
Oh, it's lovely. So apple cider vinegar, sometimes lemon juice, and what is that? Oh, there's the saffron. I like the saffron at the moment. So I'm balancing the pHs, the acid, the citrus with the apple cider vinegar, with the baking soda, and just water. And then I'll have a black tea. And like when it comes to dinner time, when everybody else is cooking, and my spidey senses are like through the roof, and I can smell every
Yeah.
ingredient they're using. And you've got to remember, I'm an ex-chef, and so that's my art form. And I'm not out there creating it. It's like, oh, torture, but I get through because
What do
I
you
can
do?
smell
What do
it.
you do for the dinner? What do you do?
I sit there and I watch cooking shows.
You told me. You said
And
you watch eating competitions? How many hot dogs can this lady stick in her mouth?
And I watch those eating competitions, and oh my God, the way they gorge themselves. And it's like, with this thing I'm doing, it's like it's this spiritual element. Like, you know, you look at the Ten Commandments. You got to remember, I grew up with the Catholic side and the Satanic side. Okay, so the Catholic side is like, you can't. That's greed. You know,
Right.
that's gorging yourself.
Gluttony and all
Yeah,
that. It's
gluttony. Yeah,
a food
and it's
program.
like, oh my God, look what she's doing. Look
Yeah.
what she's. How can people eat like that?
They'd say, how can she be so fat and how can she be so skinny? You know,
Mm.
it's
There's a lot
food
more
commercials.
reasons. Hey, there's so many more reasons. I've been a vegan for what, 5, 6, 7 years or so, and it's like I'm still plump. I'm a big girl, you know, and just, you know, working on the ancient one. She just turned around and said, I it's time. You're running out of time. We're
Right.
running out of time. Everybody's running out of time. You got to
Yeah.
do this now. Just do it, just do it. And it was like, it just, when I get messages come in, if I don't deal with those messages right away, they don't leave. You know, I was seeing a counselor. I was seeing a counselor. Oh, and this message came in, and how could I tell a counselor a bloody message from wherever? I said, I gotta not make me look beautiful. So
Right.
anyway, I said, look, I've had this message for 3 weeks. It's haunting me. If I don't tell you what it is, it's gonna give me schizophrenia. So, and it's already bad enough in there as it is. So, and I just told her, and she broke down. I had absolutely no idea of what it meant, where it came from, but it had absolutely strong significance to her and her healing. Even though she turned out to be a shit to me, there was still a message given. And it was, you know, there are a lot of lessons, There's been a lot of lessons about how to look after your energy reading, who can harvest your energy, how they manipulate you, all of these different areas. So that's been some of this journey. Anyway, you just got to appreciate yourself, acknowledge what you've done. You
Right.
know, you're so much more than just a people, just a
Yeah.
human, you
Right.
know. Mm.
One thing that I tell, you know, I've said it on my show before, and it's like, don't sit here and worship me and everything like that. Just, you're giving your power to me and I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to say thank you and same to you. I appreciate you. Um, that as well is a program through religion, because they all want you to worship these God entities, which we are gods too. And it's like, I got my own name, you know what I mean? Um, and it's like I tell them, why are you giving your power away? It's you know what I mean?
I
Yes,
don't,
it's nice to
I
say, hey,
don't,
you're a badass, or man, you're so smart, you're articulate, you're this or that. And that's nice, but when you mean it, because ever since we're little, what are we trained to say? Thank you and you're welcome. Thank you, you're welcome. You're so nice. You know, Mean Girls is a stupid movie. You can't sit with us on Wednesday or Friday. We wear pink or whatever the stupid crap is. So or like, you know, in Alice in Wonderland, and we're gonna have to make another video on that one. When the one that's chiefing, he says, "You stupid girl." Ooh, what is that?
okay. A couple of weeks ago, I went into town to get supplies, you know, because I'm rural. So I went into town. And I just went in to get some, they're called chocos. And it's a type of fruit, wild fruit anyway. And this woman was there and she has some books and she looked at me and she handed me a book. I looked it up and there's no date in it. So I looked it up even further. Yeah, and there was a set of books, a set of, a production that had no date stamp in them. What the heck? Now, I had this book at 10, 11 years old, which had a red leather cover and was gold binded and was given to me after a ritual.
I understand, like they say, I've been able to break some codes in that movie too. It's Wizard of Oz, all those, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all those
Oh,
stupid programs.
yeah, yeah. But they'll keep trying to throw them at you, and they'll turn around and say, "There's something in there that you need to look at. There's something in there." You'll go through it, and you'll see codes left and right. There's something I did years ago. I picked up a Bible came into my possession, and I picked it up. There was all this mission about finding this King James Bible. Now, I was way over Bibles and religion by this stage, and out of nowhere, this book, King James Bible, little one, turned up, gold, red with crisscrosses and little gold stamps and stuff on it. And in it was somebody had stuck some sticky tape over it. It must have been like 20 years old. And I started reading just the words inside the sticky tape, and it made sense. So I turned over to the other side and they matched. So it was like a sentence between the two sides, some form of bibliomancy. That's what I put it down to. So then this book came along and it's got the same thing, and I read it last night and it was like it's done the same thing. So there's a message there. So I've got another project that I'm working on. I try to get through these projects so fast, and there's just little tiny aspects of lessons along the way. And with this, sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm gonna ignore it. No, I'm ignoring it. So with this fasting, all right, basically was I told myself that I'd already started and I'd been doing it for like 3 or 4 days. So the body believed that I had. Okay. Oh, honey, could you please pause it? I've got to go and do this phone.
Yes, ma'am. We'll be back.
Sorry.
Interesting how we can see things like that. I also had I have a small blue Bible that's like it's turquoise, and it has actually in the front of the page, it has the lotus, kind of like not the lotus flower, but the circle Merkaba thing flower, and it spoke to me a few years ago at Barnes and Noble, and as you, I had been done with religion and going to church and all that. But when I opened it, it was like it spoke to me, and then I saw another Bible and another Bible, and they didn't have the same bold stuff that it had on that one. Mm-hmm. Same, scripture chapter. I even had my nephew look up 2 more Bibles at his house, but the message was clear, and I loved it, and I've talked about that before in other videos, but he was also part of my journey, my nephew, and it's just beautiful how the people that are supposed to be here with you come to help you, and it's so beautiful as well when it's returned to other people that, like you said, I also give messages to people. Just like last week when I was at the neurologist, there was a girl that my crystals speak to me, obviously, and I speak to them. They tell me messages. So, there was a bracelet that I had. It was jasper or sage, and it was green, and it said I need to go with this person, and she was a MA, and when I gave it to her, she just teared up. She says, I've been having such a good day, blah blah blah. We're not going to go into the details here, but I, as you, how many times do do humans like feel something come up to their throat chakra from their heart, and it's like they don't give the message to that person? How do you know if that day that person was going to end their life, if you would have said something, or just a human touch, or hey, you're doing good?
Yeah.
So, but we're going to go ahead and end. Last words for now, because we're going to be on again. And also, please let everyone know how they can contact you, if you have a website, pictures, all that. Are you on Facebook? Thank you, so.
Yes, you can contact me at stonehobbit@gmail.com. I am on Facebook. You'll find me if you look up Stone Hobbit. I'm sure I'll show up. I have a stonehobbit@weebly.com. I cover a lot of different topics. You can, once you find me and you want to chat, I'm happy to chat. Basically, I work in areas of deprogramming, navigating through different areas. So I see things as cycles. You are the center point of your universe, and your universe is your physical, your internal physical, your motor systems. You know, every organ inside you has a job that it's doing. It's not just about spending hours and hours trying to break down all of this food and junk and toxins and stuff you're putting in. So when you start resting that, you start seeing what the body's actually meant to be doing. And in 3 days, you start seeing that it produces, better immune systems. You see that it produces stem cells for healing different areas of your body. You just got to take 5-10 minutes for yourself to research some of this information. Just look up water fasting 3 days. So all you need to look up. There's heaps of information. Don't just stop at one thing. Yep.
Let me tell you, I've been thinking for a few months now. What does it mean in the Bible when it says, and in 3 days this temple will be restored? And then voila, here we go. 3 days. My number is 33. My triangle, as above so below, is my mind, body, soul, spirit. Okay, that is my Trinity, mine, ours. Yeah. Okay, but what happens with religion? They program you to go and oh, you got to serve everybody and give us your luge and obey. Yeah. You know, yeah. And it's like, no, it's talking about your body, the human system, anatomy. We can go on.
if you just look through some of the religions, you see when it comes to energy reading, there's lots of different areas. It's like learning the alphabet. Okay, you're learning to read energy. When you go to a stadium, you see a big circle where everybody sits. That's the enclosure. Okay, you're enclosed. You can create a dome over the top of that with the energy of the people that's in it. Then on the ground, there's some lines that with goals at each end, and there's some holes at each end. So by the time these people kicking this stuff around and there's all this energy created inside the stadium, it's got to go somewhere. So where's it going to go? Down in these little holes, under the goals. It's being guided that way. Everything is about energy harvesting. You see the guys walking around that, the black box over there, around circles. Where are they creating the energy? The energy's going into that box. Where's that being used for? Now, I had a little taste of it. I went through this whole weird thing with the Aetherius Society. Had no idea. Still don't know too much. Ended up with some belongings that came from George King himself. I haven't gone through them yet. Some really weird map that was hand-drawn and notes. Really weird. I don't know how I came about that stuff. Wow. And through it, it's all about the energy. It's all about energy harvesting. Know what your energy is. Know what you're putting out there. The energy that's coming back, how you are dealing with that energy that comes back. A lot of people are still stuck in Stockholm syndrome. They're still stuck in, this, I forgot the term I was going to use. but they're in stuck states. Duh. You know, they're in stuck states, and you can break that programming. You know, recognize what's happening around you, recognize the effects. When somebody says something negative to you, that's going to trigger something in you. It's going to trigger a flight and fight reaction.
Or
Why?
freeze. Fight,
Yeah,
flight, or freeze.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like, you know when to protect yourself. You actually already have innate survival skills in defense. You got to build up the memory, you know, you got to clear that memory bank to be able to access all these different levels. If for what I have done in this journey, if I know that I can do the things that I'm talking about, then I know that everybody else out there can too. Right? You know,
Exactly.
we're all a unit of light energy with absolute infinite, oh, magnificence. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I avoid the Super Bowl in football now. I used to be a huge fan. I mean, I'll still wear my Cardinals hat because to me, the Cardinals are my dragons, or people call them angels, or like if I'm thinking of my father, um, the Cardinal will show up in the morning, or a dime, or I know when it's my grandmother. I know, you know what I mean? So it's like there's so much money involved in that, and energy, like you said, Lush, that every grid line has its purpose. Why do you think churches are built where the specific grid lines, when people worship at church, things are being opened up, portals are being opened up on the bottom, and they're using it for something. So it's like, whew, this is gotta shut it down.
Yeah.
Like, not here, baby. Not here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
we've got antipodes and nodes, like underground tunnels all over this planet that thems are using. And you see the external armies blowing up and causing earthquakes to show up here and there. Then you see a ripple effect of an earthquake over here, and how they meant to join. It's not through the ley line, not through the fault line, but it's through the
energetic field, right?
yeah. So what happens, what you do as one unit of energy has a ripple effect. So the better you can better yourself, whatever environment you are in, you can create that space to make yourself feel better. Turning a bed round, changing a room, adding a plant. If you can't add a plant, add a plastic plant. It's about teasing the brain, restructuring the brain, bringing it back. Before you know it, that plant will be out, that plastic plant will be out the door, and there'll be a real one there. You'll actually want to care about something.
Yes.
When you start caring about something, you start saying, okay, there's more areas going on here. You won't be so fixated on the screen, the black mirror. This is a black mirror. How many people have this black mirror facing their beds in their rooms at night?
That's what I tell people when I go cleanse their homes. I use my own holy water. I make my own holy water using the sun and the moon and Mother Earth and all my, my abilities for healing, for love, prosperity. And I will go and draw, what I have to draw on the windows and the mirrors, and then on the TVs, and I'll tell them, you please, like, cover your freaking TV and disconnect it. If you have a mirror facing you, I can either, I don't like to say bless, because bless means be less. Sanctify it. Okay, so I sanctify it. There's so many things. I use pink Himalayan salt for putting a boundary around my place, and people avoid me like flies because they see that salt around my doorway. They're like, oh shit, she's a witch. No, I just know who I am. And anybody who comes in here, they say, I feel so much peace in here. And I said, well, that's because this is my safety. This is my home. Wherever I go, I give the same energy. It's like peace, safety, love, don't fuck with me. Excuse my language. Here we go again.
That's all right. I put a sign
Anyway,
on my door. I put a sign on my door.
what does it say?
Doctor, well, I don't have it now. I don't need it, but the energy was there for when I did. Doctor Armour doesn't work here. No shoes. The shoes thing goes back a long time inside my internal history. You leave your spirits outside. You come in
Yes.
clean.
Yes.
Okay?
I don't wear shoes here either. Yep.
Yeah. And so the Dr. Armor is, if you put it together, drama. Drama doesn't work here. I break the spell before they enter so that they're not bringing any parasitical entities in.
Right. That's very, 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 very awesome. Now, what I do is I will not have a welcome mat. And I don't like to say morning because I don't want people to be mourning
all day.
all day.
It's horrible.
I say good day, buen dia, good day, hello, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have to be very careful. We have to, even when there's like outside, when I was outside earlier for a break, like I said earlier, there was 7 dragonflies and they were talking to me, and I'll write it, I'll do another video on it, but it's if you just look at their pattern, if you look at the birds, they're telling you something. If you look at your beautiful beings that you have as cats, dogs, whatever they had to be for now. I truly feel in my heart that my cats came to me and my daughter for companionship, because and more than that, protection. They are entities that are ancient ones too.
Yeah. Well, with my cats, they have seen different entities come in. They've alerted me to different entities. In some occasions when I've gone, before I know what I know now, when I went into some of the heavier night terrors, because I'm finding my way, I'm still going through the battles, I'm finding out what my abilities are, I would still make the noises. I still do, even when I'm not in any terror. Basically, they showed me the cone, and once you're inside that cone tunnel, any noise you make in here is not going to sound the same out there because of the walls that have been created. So I've actually got an audio recording of me going through this. So, and I'll show you another time. But with when it comes down to the animals and the communication, when these animals, they see so many different dimensions. They so many warnings, they knew when to keep me inside myself from being pulled out, because there are times when I know I've been abducted, but it's not the form of abduction from the solid form, it's been from the ethereal form. And they've jumped on top of me, when you're lying there and all of a sudden you've got 3 cats lying on top of you and you can't move, you can move. It's not the same as being paralyzed in a different state.
With their technology, right?
And then you've got, when they go all the way over, their journeys that they do, they come back with information, and then they want a bit of love. You pat them, you're taking in all of that information. You're seeing what's happening in your terrain. You don't have to know what's happening in the neighbor's house, because just by patting that cat, you already got a little bit of that information. You don't really need to know it.
Yeah, my cats will wake me up when I'm having a nightmare, and they're in my astral, in my dreams. They will say, honey, she grabbed my pant leg one time and I was gonna go bike riding, and in my dream she said no. She pulled me back inside, and that morning I did not go pedal. I did not go bike ride. It's what I noticed today is Kiki was sleeping here and she's still here when you and I are here now, right? So when I'm with people with like souls and minds, and our family will say, they tend to rest. But
Yes.
when I'm hurting, or when I'm emotionally drained or crying or mad, they're at a stance, like, what's going on with Nana? Like, they're guarding me, or they'll, they'll run around. When you chase your cat and they want to be chased, they want to be, pet and all that. It's beautiful, because they communicate in certain ways. Like you said earlier, it's not just words, it's pictures, it's sounds. orbs, auras, electronic energy, electromagnetic, right? Everything.
Yeah.
So I get really upset when people treat animals and children really bad.
Yeah.
You know? So that I will defend at whatever cost, even if I lose family or friends. They're not,
Yeah.
you know, they're not caring or appreciative. So anyway, Stone, when do you want to be back?
Oh, anytime, girl. Anytime you want me back, I'm happy to just chinwag.
All right, I'm gonna check my
You know,
calendar. So you're on Facebook, right?
Yep. It's about keeping it real the whole time through.
Mhm. All right, I
Yeah.
got a date and I'll send it to you.
All right then.
You're gonna like it.
Oh dear.
How about the 13th, which is one of my favorite numbers?
13th.
Friday
Yep,
the 13th. We gotta make some great magic.
okay, that'll be my Saturday the 14th.
Ah,
That will be my day 42.
yay. Sounds great.
Sounds absolutely fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure again, Veronica. I'm always
you,
happy
Miss
to chat
Stone.
anytime. Whatever crazy subject comes up, you know, we just go with the flow. We just go with the flow. No stress involved.
No strings attached like this.
That's right.
We cut all cords, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
we can go on, but I appreciate you and
I appreciate you likewise.
thank you, everyone. It's been 5 hours.
Oh, geez.
Recording, I think it's 4 hours, but we were on an hour before, so we'll let you go, guys. See you later.